Good morning, dear students. Microeconomic Analysis Module 2 Theory of Consumption, multiple choice questions and some concepts from this module. First question. Normally, there will not be a shift in demand curve when price of the commodity falls. Consumers, consumers want to buy more at any given price. Average income rises. Answer is when price of the commodity falls. Second question. People came to expect that the price of gallon gasoline will rise next week. As a result, next week's supply of gasoline decreases. The price of gallon of gasoline falls today. Today's supply of gasoline increases. Today's demand for gasoline increases. Answer is today's demand for gasoline increases. Third question. Pen drive rises in price while CDs fall in price. The combined effect of these two changes is to create a leftward shift of the demand curve for pen drive, a rightward shift of the demand curve for pen drive, a rightward shift of the supply curve for pen drive, a leftward shift of the supply curve of the pen drive. Answer is a rightward shift of the demand curve for pen drive. Fourth question. The law of demand implies that other things remaining the same, as the demand for potatoes increases, the price of the potatoes will fall. As the price of the potatoes rises, the quantity of potatoes demanded will decrease. As income increases, the quantity of potatoes demanded will increase. As the price of potatoes rises, the quantity of potatoes demanded will increase. Answer is as the price of potatoes rises, the quantity of potatoes demanded will decrease. Fifth question. Which of the following is consistent with the law of demand? A decrease in the price of a gallon of milk causes a decrease in quantity of milk demanded. An increase in the price of soda causes a decrease in the quantity of soda demanded. An increase in the price of tape causes an increase in the quantity of tapes demanded. A decrease in the price of juice causes no changes in quantity of juice demanded. Answer. An increase in the price of soda causes decrease in the quantity of soda demanded. Sixth question. If the demand for a good is inelastic, an increase in its price will cause the total expenditure of the consumer of the good to A. Increase, B. Decrease, C. Remains the same, D. Become zero. Answer is increase. Seventh question. An increase in the price of electricity will cause the demand for electric appliances to A. Rise, B. Fall, C. Remain the same, D. None of these. Answer B. Fall. Eighth question. A price of commodity increases from 40 rupees per unit to 50 rupees per unit. Demand falls from 200 units to 100 units. What will be the elasticity of demand? A minus 2, B minus 1, C 0. Answer is minus 2. If the price of elasticity of demand for a good is 0.75, the demand for good can be described as normal, A normal, B elastic, C inferior, D inelastic. Answer is inelastic. 10th question. Of the following, demand is likely to be the least elastic for A. Toyota automobiles, B. Compact disc players, C. Ford automobiles, D. Toothpicks. Answer toothpicks. 11th question. Utility or satisfaction is a subjective concept. Therefore, it could only be ranked. The statement supports A. Cardinal utility theorist, B. Ordinal utility theorist, C. Behavioral theorist of the form, D. None of the above. Answer is ordinal utility theorist. 12th question. Which one of the following statement best expresses the law of diminishing marginal utility? A. The more consumption of product, the smaller is the total and marginal utility from the consumption. B. The less consumption of product, the greater is the total and marginal utility of the consumption. C. The more consumption of a product, the smaller is the marginal utility for consuming an additional unit. D. The more consumption of a product, the smaller is the total and marginal utility from the consumption. Answer is the more consumption of a good, the smaller is the marginal utility from the consuming an additional unit. 13th question. As per the law of equimarginal utility, a consumer with a fixed income will maximize utility when each good is purchased in amounts such that the A. Total utility is the same for each good. B. Marginal utility of each good is maximized. C. Marginal utility per rupee spent is the same for all goods. D. Marginal utility per rupee spent is maximized for each good. Answer is marginal utility per rupee spent is the same for all goods. 14th question. A consumer attains equilibrium in case of a commodity when MUX is equal to PX, A, B, MUX is greater than PX. C. MUX is less than PX. D. MUX is equal 0. Answer is MUX is equal PX. 15th question. According to the law of diminishing marginal utility, A. Utility is at a maximum with the first unit. B. Increasing units of consumption increase the marginal utility. C. Marginal product will fall as more units are consumed. D. Total utility will rise at a falling rate as some units are consumed. Answer is total utility will rise at falling rate as more units are consumed. 16th question. As we move down the indifference curves left to right, the slope of indifference curve tends to A. Unity, B. Rise, C. 0, D. Declines. Answer is declines. 17th question. At the point of equilibrium, A. MRS is greater than Px by Py and Ic is concave to the point of the equilibrium. B. MRS is less than Px by Py and Ic is convex at the point of equilibrium. C. MRS is equal to Px by Py. D. MRS is greater than Px by Py and Ic is convex to the point of equilibrium. Answer is MRS is greater than Px by Py and Ic is convex at the point of equilibrium. Eighteenth question. When rupee worth of satisfaction is greater for y than x implies that MUX by PX is equal to MUY by PY. B. MUX by PX is greater than MUY by PY. C. MUX by PX is less than MUY by PY. D. None of these. Answer is MUX by PX is less than MUY by PY. 19th question. The slope of the budget line or price line is A. Minus Px by Py, B. Minus Py by Px, C. Px by Py, D. Py by Px. Answer is minus Px by Py. 20th question. Why the consumers spending restricted? A. Due to the utility maximization. B. Due to the budget constraint. C. Due to the demand curve. D. Due to the marginal utility. Answer is due to the budget constraint. 21st question. If you pay a rupee exactly equals to you willing to pay, then your consumer surplus is 0. Your willing to pay is less than your consumer surplus. Your consumer surplus is negative. You place little value on the good. Answer is your consumer surplus is 0 rupees. 22nd question. Which of the following is not true with regard to consumer surplus? A. Consumer surplus reflects the net benefit to the consumers from market exchanges. B. Consumer surplus is zero if the good is given away for free. C. Consumer surplus is used as a measure of economic welfare. D. Consumer surplus can be used to compare the effects of different market structures and different tax policies. Answer is consumer surplus is zero if the good is given away for free. 23rd question. If you are willing to pay 250 rupees for a certain movie ticket but you purchase it on the sale for 200 rupees, your consumer surplus is A. Impossible to determine from the information given. B. 1 by 5 is equal to 0.2. C. 250 rupees. D. 50 rupees. Answer is 50 rupees. 24th question. The basic doctrine of consumer surplus is based on A. Indifference curves analysis. B. Revealed preference theory. C. Law of substitution. D. Law of diminishing marginal utility. Answer. Law of diminishing marginal utility. 25th question. Consumer surplus exists A. When actual market price is greater than the equilibrium market price. B. When actual market is less than the equilibrium market price. C. Because producers change a price that is greater than the cost of production. D. When consumers pay the same price for each unit of a good because the price reflects only the value of the last unit purchased to the consumer. Answer is when actual market price is greater than the equilibrium market price. Some concepts. Ceteris paribus. Other things remain constant or non-price factors are fixed. Demand. When a consumer is having to desire to possess the good and ability to pay and willingness to spend, then only we will consider this as demand. Demand function. Demand function is the functional relationship between the quantity demanded of a good, all the quantitative factors which determine the demand. Demand schedule. Demand schedule means in the form of a table we are showing the relation between the prices and quantity demanded. Substitutes. These are the goods which satisfy the same want, means by using these goods we can satisfy the same want. Complementaries. To satisfy one want, if we require two goods, then they will consider them as complementaries. Negative cross elasticity of demand. Complementary goods are having negative cross elasticity means if the price of one good increases, the demand for other good decreases. Positive cross elasticity of demand. Substitute goods are having positive cross elasticity of demand means if the price of one good increases, the demand for other good increases. Consumers equilibrium. when the ratio of marginal utility to price must be equal in case of different commodities. Income effect. The part of the response in demand for a good to change in its price, which is due to rise in the real income of consumer resulting from a price increases. MRS of X for Y. The marginal rate of substitution means the number of units the consumer wants to forego to get one additional unit of other. The number of goods required to compensate a consumer for a small decrease in quantity of another per unit of the decrease. Price effect. The combined effect of income effects and substitution effect will be known as price effect. Substitution effect. The part of substitution effect of price exchange on demand due to the change in relative prices, assuming that the consumer is compensated sufficiently to remain at the same level of utility.